Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did indeed say that we should defund the police. Well, what I meant was, and what was done, was that we should reallocate some of the resources to mental health, because it doesn't make sense when you're dealing with a mentally ill person in a subway to send a cop with a gun. What you need is a mental health worker who can take care of that person. And that was done. And it has worked. And that's why, or it's part of the reason why New York is the safest large city in the United States today in terms of crime. And I note that my Republican colleagues who are so upset at defunding the police want to defund the federal police, the FBI, the ATF. How can you be in favor of funding local police but not the federal police? They have a major function. Who is going to catch the spies? Who's going to catch the bank robbers? Who's going to be the modern John Dillinger? Or Elliot Ness, rather, not John Dillinger, the modern Elliot Ness. John Dillinger was the bad guy. We need the ATF, we need the FBI, just as we need local police departments. So it is hypocritical for Republicans to criticize the Democrats for wanting to defund the police when they want to defund the federal police. And when I can't speak for other members what they meant on their comments, but for myself, what I meant in defunding the police was shifting funds, not defunding, shifting funds from the police to the mental health, which, as I said, was done and has worked out very well. I'll yield back.
Would the gentleman yield?
Sure.
I mean, these are your words. You said, quote, there should be substantial cuts to the police budget, unquote. So they cut $1 billion.
Yes, exactly. Reclaiming my time. Yes, that's exactly what I said. And what I meant was what I said a moment ago. They should cut substantial funds from the police to give it to mental health.
How did that work out? We just had a field hearing down there. It wasn't
It worked
pretty.
out very well. The United States, the city of New York, the crime statistics tell us the city of New York is the safest large city in the United States in terms of crime.
Mr. Ranking Member, that is not what the witnesses presented in our field hearing.
The witnesses you presented in your field hearing were only able to testify as to individual experiences.
Well, they said it's the most fearful time ever to live in the city. It might have something to do with defunding the police.
Reclaiming my time. People who read the New York Post or the New York Daily News, which follow the tabloid tradition of it, if it bleeds, it leads, could get that impression. But the statistics are what I said.
Do you feel safe walking in New York City?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
I do.
That's not the sentiment of your constituents. There are many of them, I'll tell you that.
Well, it's the sentiment of a lot of them. And the fact is, our crime rates are down, and it is a safe city, whatever the sentiments of some people who may get wrong impressions. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
Yeah, thank you very much. We heard in New York City just a couple weeks ago the deadly consequences of police in retreat, and we're seeing it across the country. I mean, think about, Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Brame and Mrs. Harrison. Remember them sitting up there and saying addressing the Democrats on the committee, go back and look at the video. They're like, you have let us down. You had a city councilman, a lifelong Democrat, who is saying his friends, his constituents, are all headed for Florida. And those that haven't are future Floridians, according to the gentleman who does represent Florida on this dais. So there should be substantial cuts to the police budget, were his words. But I'll go back to another person from New York City, Representative Bowman. We don't need police with lethal weapons carrying out routine traffic stops. Tell that to Deputy Katie Lysing. Deputy Katie Lysing died this weekend in western Wisconsin. Yeah, you can laugh about it. You can laugh about the deputy dying over in western Wisconsin. This is the fourth police officer that has now died in the state of Wisconsin. This year. 3 of them in my district, rural northern western Wisconsin. It just doesn't happen there. Did you get the list? 3 young people. that are giving their lives to law enforcement, and they're now gone. And one this weekend. By the way, God bless Katie Lysing and her family as she's laid to rest this Friday. God bless Emily Breidenbach and Hunter Shield, who died in Barron County. This is seeped in throughout society. And you can sit here in denial. And you can play this equivalency game here today. Oh, we all support the police and all the rest. We don't have to go very far back in the Wayback Machine, as the representative from Louisiana was laying out earlier, to see who was talking about defunding the police, who was clearly showing their disdain for police. Let's go back to the gentlewoman from Minneapolis. The Minneapolis Police Department is rotten to the root, and so when we dismantle it, we get rid of that cancer. You know where Katie Lysing's shooter came from? The Twin Cities. The Twin Cities, which is about 20 minutes from my district. It's seeping in throughout America, including in rural America. Mr. Bowman says, we don't need police with lethal weapons. We all wish that Katie Lysing would have used hers the other day so that she was still on this earth as somebody turned a weapon on her. Somebody from the Twin Cities who was let out from a weak-on crime city. Minneapolis and St. Paul. Mr. Chairman, at the New York hearing, I asked you to come to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to do the next hearing. Well, I'm going to give you another choice. You can add Minneapolis to that. Because that's soft on crime policies that we see with the representative from Minneapolis, that we see from the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis, where someone who is a rapist who only did 4 years, a rapist, 4 years in the Twin Cities, and he got out of jail, still living in the Twin Cities, and he comes into western Wisconsin and shoots a sheriff's deputy, 29 years old. This is the defund the police movement. You were warned 3 years ago this was going to seep into society and that it was going to get worse. So you can say we're just using words today, but you know what? Those officers out there that I talked to, they said we'd like to hear some of those positive words. So go ahead and vote against this amendment. Go ahead and vote against it. Because law enforcement from around America, they know what you guys did over the last few years. And it's up to you to stop the lawlessness across America. Because if we continue to have a political party that stands with the defund the police movement and does not reverse course, this country is going to see more officers die.